What's going on, people? Welcome to United View and welcome to an unexpected transfer view. Welcome to a little bit of live reaction. Just as you think it's the evening time, it's Saturday, just going to chill with the family, eat some food, do what you're doing. Just as you think that is what is going to be the case, breaking news, breaking Manchester United news, rumours galore. And the latest, let's just get straight into it, is Weghorst of Besiktas, technically of Burnley, on loan from there, is potentially coming to Manchester United. It looks like Eric Ten Hag has sounded him out for a 6-month loan. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Owen, let's get straight into it. Where's this come from and what have we got?
So to answer the question where it's come from, out of nowhere. It's like an RKO, Randy Orton, out of nowhere. We don't know where it's come from, but in terms of specific journalists, it's from Santi Ouna and from Lucas Billiard, and they are reporting, and Santi Ouna actually reported some really interesting news that was picked up by Fabrizio Romano about Marcus Thuram today, so there is quite a bit of credibility to this one, suggesting that Manchester United are close to signing Wout Weghorst on loan for the rest of the season. As you mentioned, Flex, he's currently on loan at Besiktas from Burnley. Manchester United is an opportunity that is difficult for Wout Weghorst to refuse and is an exciting challenge. Again, the reports are that United are interested. Negotiations revolve around paying for a loan and are considered advanced right now. Now, a journalist based out in Turkey, Serkan Dikimi, who is, I guess, a Besiktas reporter and was in the post-match press conference because Besiktas played today and Wout Weghorst scored. And when he scored, he waved goodbye to the crowd. KG would be going crazy because he loves a goodbye wave to the crowd from a player. And he's reported, quote, after the match ended, I spoke with the club and the player side. There is a possibility that Wout Weghorst will leave. Manchester United held a meeting with Burnley. Besiktas need to give approval for the player to leave. So again, Flex, this one kind of coming out of nowhere. But as things stand, if that reporting is accurate, or even if it's partially accurate, it would appear that we're in for Wout Weghorst. Maybe there's a little bit of discrepancy on how far along these negotiations are, but it would appear, again, as the Turkish journalist is saying there, it now kind of all hinges on what Besiktas want and ultimately what the player wants. If the player goes to Besiktas, look, it's Man United. I know I like it here. He did the heart thing to the crowd when he scored this evening and waved goodbye. This could be the striker that's going to be coming in January. What were your thoughts? Because I remember I said this to you. I said this to you and said like, and then more kept coming out. And with the eyes emoji, what is your reaction?
I was quite calm about it, and I don't mind it. I think this is one where we have to again stay within our camp and don't listen to outside noise of on social media. You might get trolled and this team's going to laugh at you, and forget all of that. Just think about Eric Ten Hag. Just think about trusting this man. Just think about believing in what he's doing, and just think about actually this is a very short-term fix. This is a 5-month thing, 6-month thing to the end of the season. This isn't Igalo 2.0. This is not us spending a decent amount of money and making something permanent when we have money to spend as well with poor planning. We had a striker in Cristiano Ronaldo at the beginning of the season and it went sour and it left us short in January. This is different. He's a profile of player that is completely, he adds something we don't have. He adds height, he adds aerial threat. He's decent with his feet. I'm not going to sit here and profess that, well, actually, he's absolutely outstanding. He'd be perfect for, I'm not gonna go that far left. But what I will do is look at it reasonably and say it's a short-term deal, one that we can afford. We've been saying we can't afford to buy someone. It's a Dutch player that obviously Eric Ten Hag knows him well, and he can offer us something different. If I say this, when we're in the latter stages of games and we have to bring on the Langer up front, when we're trying to change things or we want a little bit of something different, would you rather a Langer or would you rather someone like a big man up front where you can try something different? And I just feel that if Eric Ten Hag wants him for 5 months, 6 months on a loan, not permanent, short term, if he wants him and thinks that he can fit us for that time, I'm quite comfortable. Is it the most glamorous signing we can make? We're going to talk about Joao Felix shortly. We're going to talk about Joao Felix, the price of that loan deal coming down. So we will get to that. But in terms of this as a short-term deal, as Mark says there, an extra option would be best. I just think, yeah, we haven't got money to spend. We know that we were going to get a loan. It's a short-term deal. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I would, to answer your question when you said, would you rather Wout Weghorst or Anthony Elanga coming on as a substitute? I'd rather have the striker because Anthony Elanga is not a striker. I mean, it all depends, I suppose. Look, are there better options out there? That would be the question. Are there better options, or certainly there are better options out there? Are there more attainable options out there right now? I don't think clearly Erik ten Hag wants this to be a situation that goes really far into the January transfer window. You know, I don't think he wants to be on the 25th or 30th or 31st. I don't think he still wants to be going about that striker. Is there anything we can do? I think that it could be a situation where he's gone, look, it might not be the perfect and ideal option, but it's an option we can do now. To your point, we don't really have anyone like him. It's an option that we don't have in terms of the type of player that Weghorst is. Is he Man United caliber? Probably not, ultimately. You know, let's be honest. And if things were normal and we had money, we wouldn't be going after Wout Weghorst in January. We have got hands behind our back. We don't have enough money for the majority of deals that we'd ideally want to do. We're going to talk about Joao Felix later on. Even with prices being reduced, it's still difficult for us to do. And ultimately, I saw Wout Weghorst come on at the World Cup and change a quarterfinal on its head in about 10 minutes. I mean, I literally saw him do that.
He did it. Yeah.
And turn that quarterfinal against Argentina on its head. Now, it's the World Cup. It's one game. That's part of it. That's fair. Ten Hag also, Ajax, does like to play. I mean, Wout Weghorst is, and how tall is he? He's like 6'7". He's huge, right?
Yeah.
Ten Hag has liked to play in the past with that target man profile striker, a player that can hold up the ball and bring, you know, the wingers and the midfielders into play. For 6 months, in terms of, and with there being no long-term commitment either, you know, at the end of the season, it's not a case of we've got Wout Weghorst for 18 months. What on earth do we do with that? I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. So look, it's an interesting one. And ultimately, I was saying this to you before we went live, that I'm at the position now with Erik ten Hag, whereby if Erik ten Hag says, I want Wout Weghorst, I want him at Manchester United, I think he can do a job for us, I think he can be an option, I'll go, you know what, fair enough, because he knows better than I. So really interesting bunch of quotes that dropped today, Flex. I don't know if you saw this, about him talking about the transfer strategy of the past, when he said pretty much the majority of players that Manchester United have signed have been average at best. And he said that
the shirt
average
weighs
is
heavy.
Yeah, he said average isn't good enough at Manchester United. The shirt weighs heavy. And he spoke about the recruitment that he did in the summer. And he said that a lot of it was personality and character driven. He said that I needed leaders and I needed warriors. I needed fighters. Wout Weghorst in that game, by the way, against Argentina, was booked before he even came on the pitch. He was booked because of, obviously it was all kicking off between Argentina and the Netherlands. He was booked on the bench by that card happy referee, who's retiring at the end of the season, by the way. Good. So maybe he is that, you know, that kind of personality that Ten Hag wants, and maybe it's another option. He's maybe he is a warrior. I don't know, but a poll's already in the chat, Flex, to see if what the community thinks. Simply, it's about Weghorst on a 6-month loan, yes or no. And so far, 330 votes, 78% say yes. Interesting.
Good. Yeah. See, there you go. I think it's one where I think it just makes sense in the short term. I think we're in a position where we need to just stay away from what other people might think. You know, keep everything in house. This is something that suits us. I know, you know, you could say, well, oh, look, this is the difference. Arsenal might get Joao Felix now, and we're going to get Weghorst. I think it's bigger than that. We'll talk about Joao Felix in a minute.
Literally, in terms of size and height.
It literally is. It literally is bigger than that. Over a foot bigger than that, probably. Because Joao Felix is probably about 5'6" himself.
Tiny.
But I just feel like, again, like you saying now, to reiterate that fact, if Erik ten Hag thinks he can get a tune out of him, or use him as a backup, or use him as an alternative to Martial for a few months until May, I've got no problem with it. I've got no problem with it at all. Because what it does show, that it shows that we've got someone at the helm who won't let us panic and do something like ridiculous, like throw. I know we don't have a lot of money to spend, but he won't kind of throw money at something that is a long-term problem. You know, like where we're going to have this player for 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Just because we need someone. It clearly is to say, it is a message to the fans to say, we've been consistent saying that we've only got a loan option. We can't buy anyone. But also there is a plan for after this. We have to extinguish this little fire that we've got because we didn't expect it to arise. The Ronaldo thing happened. It left us short, and he already wasn't even really playing. Like, to be fair, Wout Weghorst, won't be the main striker. But, if he does come, because we don't know if this, this isn't a here we go or anything like that, but it's very, very strong links. And we all saw the video. If you haven't, check it out online with him scoring that goal for Besiktas, and that was a goodbye. That was a goodbye.
He literally waves and goes goodbye.
Yeah, he waved, kissing the badge, even though he's only been there a little while. It was almost like that. I'm sorry, guys. I know. Thank you so much for having me, for this short time, but something's come up. But we don't know. You never know. Chelsea could come in and get him, knowing our luck. Let's just not. After the Cody Gakpo thing, I know it's a different level of transfer, but I'm not going to get carried away saying we're definitely getting him. But if he comes, again, to reiterate, I have no problems with that whatsoever. I think that it's someone who can just give us something different. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him, maybe even start some games as well. Super chat here from Jerome. Jerome says, Weghorst is something we don't have. A big striker who is good in the air. I don't mind it. Yeah. And that
well, Flex. Wow. So you saying about more concrete stuff.
Here we go.
No, we haven't got a here we go. But what I will say is this might as well be a construction site because there's a lot of concrete going on here because Laurie Whitwell has just reported in the last couple of seconds or so, Manchester United have held exploratory talks with Burnley over a potential loan move for Wout Weghorst. So that is basically, when it's from The Athletic, that is saying those talks are very real. Those talks are very real. Again, there might be a discrepancy on how far advanced it is, but those rumblings that we're hearing, I mean, to be fair, the journalist in Turkey spoke to the club and the player, and they said, there's something going on there.
But we still want our domestic journalists to kind of come off the back of that, and they don't. When it comes to Manchester United and reliability, they don't come much more reliable than Laurie Whitwell or if Samuel Luckhurst says something, or obviously Romano's like that with everyone. But that means there's interest. That means they've picked up the phone. They've spoken to United. They've spoken to the comms team there at United, and they would have said, "Yeah, he's someone we're looking at. We're having what it says there. What he said, exploratory talks with Burnley. That means Man United are in them talks because they want him." And I think if Weghorst knows that Man United want him, which clearly looks like that's the scenario, I think of course he's going to want to come to Man United. And Jaden says Ramsey is going to love Weghorst. He is. Eric Ramsey will absolutely love that. I don't know about these short corners now, mate. They'll be going straight in the box.
There's a really interesting part of this from Laurie Whitwell as well, when he just continues this. And he says that Manchester United see Wout Weghorst as an option to fill a void in the striker position with the club. This is the key thing here. The club deciding only to pursue loan deals during this window. It is thought that no permanent options are being assessed, even at a low cost. So any kind of, and this gets into the Thuram news in just a second, but basically any kind of option for a permanent deal off the table. Not happening.
Yeah.
So and that, once again, reduces things.
That shows that, again, okay, there's two ways of looking at it. We don't have money. So even if we had 100 million war chest in January, you can't just say that that's the reason why. You know what I mean? So there is no money anyway. So we can't buy anyone. But also you have to say, it does show that they're not just going to try their hardest to use that 20 million to actually buy someone and give them a 3-year deal. And no, we're going to wait to the summer. We've got our plans. Eric's laid it out. We trust in him. Obviously, the sale of the club and all that stuff, we know that. But in terms of believing in Ten Hag, which is what we all do and which is what the club seems to be doing, this is just a stopgap. And that's fine as a stopgap. Tony says he scored 2 Premier League goals in 20 games for Burnley. There are 3 weeks left of the window. We can get better aerial threats, ? He doesn't do what we need. I disagree, Tony. And also, Burnley were relegated last season. I think it's interesting. He got 2 because if we want to go by that, Tony, really we could say he got 2 Premier League goals in 20 games. And in, I don't know, how many appearances did he make for Holland in the World Cup? He got 2 goals. It happened.
There have been plenty of good players that have got relegated at a club and then gone to a big club next season and done pretty well. I mean, it's even happened in Manchester United history. Remember when we signed Alan Smith as a striker? He got relegated with Leeds, came the next season. Exactly. And again, I was saying this today when I was talking about Marcus Rashford and other players at United. We were told by the guys from We Talk Ajax they might get Erik ten Hag's got the capabilities of getting more out of players than you think is possible. Now, I'm not saying that Wout Weghorst is going to come to Old Trafford and suddenly we're going to be saying, "Oh, Wout for the Ballon d'Or" or anything like that. But I'm saying that he might be a better option than maybe we think, and clearly he wants options, and he wants options early. He doesn't want to wait until the end of the month after these City and Arsenal games to be like, if only we'd have had that striker by then, if only we'd have had that option by then, it might have been a little bit different. He's a details guy. He wants to be as prepared as possible, and he wants it done now. And maybe United are just like, you know what? The option's limited anyway. If we don't get Weghorst, who are we going to get?
You got to get him. And also, I just think, like in what Tony was saying, thanks for the super chat, Tony. Interesting of your thoughts as well. And it's actually helped us, discussing this further, Tony. So I appreciate that. To what Tony was saying about he scored 2 goals in 20 league games for Burnley. Like you were just saying there, Burnley is completely different to Man United, especially this version of Man United. We're creating chances. Would Wout Weghorst have scored that header/diving header that Martial should have done against Wolves? Probably.
Possibly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know it's not talking. You can't 100% say.
I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a striker and he's a different option to what we have. I think the fact that he didn't score goals at Burnley, that in a team that got relegated and was terrible, that shouldn't put us off it. It's all about horses for courses. That's like saying, why Louis van Gaal, you can't bring him on against Argentina in a knockout stage. He didn't even score. He didn't even score for Burnley. How's he going to score here? And look what happened. It doesn't work like that. Erik ten Hag is believed to be a fan of Wout Weghorst, with the striker's personality particularly appealing. That's from Laurie Whitwell. I've just seen that on Twitter as well.
And that was just, and again, that's kind of the point I was just making now. When I heard or read those quotes from Ten Hag today, when he was talking more broadly about the personality of the players that he had signed this year, and he said about Martinez and Anthony, and he said Casemiro is more of a leader, but he is a warrior. But he said that those players were sort of fighters, warriors. Basically said they're bastards. I want people that are in your face. I want people that are, up for it. I want people that can raise the atmosphere via their commitment, by their tenacity at Old Trafford. And to be honest, and you only can really know those sort of deeper levels of their personality if you're really, really familiar with them. That's why, it kind of in hindsight now, that's why it makes sense that he kept going back to Ajax, because he's like, I know these people personally. I know their personality. I'm familiar with, again, their kind of tenacity in the game. Wout Weghorst, he doesn't need to be as familiar with him. But if he's a fan of his personality and thinks, you know what, he'd be perfect here, even if, bear in mind, sometimes the best personalities aren't people that play all the time. They're just people that's in the squad. They're people that, they spur people on. They're good in the dressing room. And as an option, and look, maybe we are sitting here, Flex, and we're trying to convince ourselves into thinking this is a good deal. But I think as an option, I don't see any player in the squad that we have at the moment that I go, well, he's a bit like Wout Weghorst. I think he's a different option that can be useful. And Ten Hag does like to play with target men.
Agreed. And just now as well, in the last couple of minutes, David Ornstein has retweeted the Athletics piece on that, which basically says what we just said, what Laurie Whitwell's been saying. Man United have held exploratory talks with Burnley over a potential loan move for Wout Weghorst, and obviously David Ornstein obviously works at the Athletic as well, so he's going to want to push their stuff out. But I think that is a little bit of a cosign as well.
The seal of approval, isn't it? Yeah,
seal of approval to say that's what's going on. Red Baron says, fans yesterday when we went in 1-1 at halftime on social media was so negative. Do you think Ten Hag's target is to change the fans' mentality? Red Baron. Owen was telling me about this, sort of saying that, fans were quite negative at halftime and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it was 1-1 and De Gea made an absolute howler of a mistake. Other than that, it would have been 1-0. It really would have. But to answer your question about, do I think Ten Hag's trying to change fans' mentality? I don't think that's his primary objective. I think Ten Hag has his primary objectives of where he wants this team to be, when he wants us to hit certain, points, and how he wants to do it. Involved in that, as a byproduct, our mentality will change like it has done. We believe in the manager. We look forward to watching the team. We can see a vision. We can see a process. We're patient. So our mentality will change as a byproduct of him having his number one principles there. I don't think Ten Hag's going, I better do this to keep the fans happy, or I better do that to keep the fans. I think his vision is that good, and he's that good of a manager even with him setting standards and principles and values at the football club, that is automatically changing our mentality. So yeah, I don't think that's his priority there, but it will happen as a byproduct.
As well, I don't know if you noticed this inside the stadium. I've noticed he's done this a couple of times now. Every time he comes up for second half, claps the crowd. But
yeah,
it's more than that now. He claps the crowd and he goes, "Come on, like,
come on,
come on." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, and I don't think that's anything to do with the expectations. I just think he wants to make that atmosphere as big and as loud as possible. He's seen this season when Old Trafford's up and when it's loud, other teams crumble. And as I just said yesterday at halftime, I just felt that, I'm at a place with this team and this manager. If we do go at halftime 0-0, 1-1, or even losing, I feel we'll make enough chances that we'll get a goal at least in that second half and we can move on. And we did, like within 5 minutes. The end result matters, not halftime.
100%. Sandeep says, big Weggy is better than lukewarm Martial. Thanks for the super chat. And Rabadam says, a witty poll that, vote Weghorst. And they are voting Weghorst as it stands. Had just under 1,000 votes. If you want to get your votes in, let us see. Click yes or no in the poll. Wout Weghorst on a 6-month loan. 75% say yes. Yeah, so that is a big sway. That is a big swing of opinion. I think it's unanimous of what everyone thinks. As we can see, over 1,500 people watching. And only 211 likes. Let's get those likes up, people. Big up. Yeah, remember to do that. I know if you just join in, you're thinking, what is going on here? About Weghorst, you're involved, you're watching, you're taking it all in. 2 goals to Sheffield Wednesday. Who's Sheffield Wednesday playing? Premier League team?
Newcastle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at Hillsborough.
Yeah, but Newcastle must have made loads of changes or something in it.
I mean, probably their primary focus is the league at the moment. They're thinking, if we can get Champions League.
Exactly.
That's their thought process at the moment.
Yeah, that is what it is. But if you're just joining us, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And the latest news is that Wout Weghorst is in discussions with Manchester United about a short-term loan to the end of the season. Erik ten Hag is an admirer of the player. He was pictured earlier scoring against Besiktas and doing somewhat of a leaving stance, a leaving kind of situation where he's waving to the fans and saying bye and all of that stuff. So Laurie Whitwell has come to the forefront and has a lot to say about it, saying that Manchester United have had exploratory talks with him. And here we go. He also says Man United see Weghorst as an option to fill a void to striker. Oh yeah, we've had a couple. Yeah, we've read that one.
It's interesting that from the original report from Santi Ouna as well, as who first broke this, says that when they say United have almost completed the deal for Wout Weghorst, it continues saying Erik ten Hag wants a player capable of dominating in the air, which he does not have in attack. The second short-term option until the summer after Weghorst is Vincent Abubakar. From Al Nassr. But it would appear at the moment that it's Weghorst is the primary option. And that part there, where it says Ten Hag wants a player that's capable of dominating in the air, which he doesn't have, that probably speaks the volumes. He's just looked 2 things there. He's gone, are they available? And the answer is kind of. Basically, Besiktas have to agree to send him back to Burnley for him to come to us. But 2, he's thinking, actually, for a short-term option and as a player that we don't have, a type of player we don't have, maybe it's an option. Maybe it gives us just more strings to our bow.
Hold that thought there, Owen, because Laurie Whitwell has tweeted as well, which is interesting, which someone was talking about as well, with the complexities about this deal, because he's already on loan. So Laurie Whitwell said 2 minutes ago, sounds like signing Wout Weghorst would be quite a complicated deal. With Besiktas expecting the 30-year-old to finish the season with them, they also have a 10 million option to buy, 10 million euro option to buy. He then says, presumably, so this is in his opinion, presumably it would require compensation from Man United for Besiktas to agree. And somebody said that in the chat earlier on. How does this work? Because he's actually on loan from Burnley. Yeah. So there are some complexities about that. Like Lux Hill says there, Besiktas have to agree because they have a 10 million euros option to buy. So we're going to have to wait on this one. I don't think it's going to get done super. It might not get done super quick because they've got to discuss that. Technically, he has to return to Burnley before he gets loaned out again. But if they have a 10 million pounds, 10 million euros option to buy, that option's been taken away from them. So they're saying, we wanted a striker in the summer. We actually liked him. I saw that he scored 8 in 16 games I saw earlier. So he's doing well. He's doing well there. And they might have already decided that they wanted him, for the long term. So how do you compensate them? So I think that's interesting.
Almost United have to kind of buy out that clause and not pay the full amount, but they have to say, we understand you have this clause. We're willing to pay you this money to not exercise it. Essentially, we're having to pay you to send him back to his actual club and not exercise the option to buy him as well. Now, I don't think that would be 10 million euros. Again, this is all speculation here. I don't think that'd be 10 million euros, but you would think, what, a couple of million? It might be that. You know, it might be. And again, that's when it starts going into the realm of how much is too much? Is even a couple of million too much? Exactly. Especially when it comes to not actually, you know, the fee or the wages or anything like that. I've just seen Fabrizio Romano's also tweeted about this. God, this is what happens when you're live, Flex. It's all kicking off.
All going off.
Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted, Manchester United have been offered the chance to sign Wout Weghorst as a new striker, exploring the conditions of the deal, as Foot Mercato reported. 10 million euros buy option is included in the deal, so it's up to Besiktas and Burnley. The player has already given his green light. So what Romano is saying is the player has said, yes, I want to go. Because
he's basically saying to his career, look, again, you know, once in a lifetime opportunity to play for Manchester United. You know, you want that on your CV. You know, Eric Ten Hag comes calling, the Premier League comes calling once again, but at the other end of it. And he's obviously saying, please honor this. Please, well, not honor this. I really want to go. I really want to go. Can you make it happen?
I'm 30. And that's where I never thought this would happen. You know, it's
exactly.
Like,
and Laurie Whitwell, he's been really busy. He's all over this. A couple of minutes ago, he has another tweet. He says, first call was from Santi Auna. That was the first journalist to break this when we first saw this coming in as well. He is out there in, where is he actually? It doesn't actually say.
He's all over Europe. He's all over Europe.
But for Foot Mercato is who he works for, which is a huge outlet in there in Europe. Over 3 million followers. So Laurie Whitwell's giving credit to him. But Laurie Whitwell gives his own opinion and says, personality has been a big thing for Eric Ten Hag, and you can see, and you could say Weghorst showed that in the spat with Messi. He didn't get many goals at Burnley, but his record in Turkey is good. And he scored one of the best goals at the World Cup, which he did. Yeah, I mean, when he got involved with Messi and wanted to shake his hand and then, you know, showed a bit of disrespect to him on the pitch, tried to come back and say, you know, it's all good, and Messi wasn't having any of it, whatever. But it shows that he's got a bit of personality. So
that's what I'm saying, Flex. That's what Ten Hag cares about. He's looking. Are you a warrior? Are you a fighter? Yes. Yeah. Can you play football a bit? Yeah, come in. You know, that's it. That's what he's really looking for. And what is fascinating is that this story first got reported or dropped about an hour ago, and in the space of about 60 minutes. All of this is now coming out. And again, from Romano's side, he's saying that the player's given the green light. It's now up to Burnley and Besiktas to go, okay, let's figure this out. Obviously, United, you would think, would be involved in those discussions because they'd be involved if, okay, we understand there might be some need for compensation. How much? We can't afford a lot, you know, so how much? And I suppose it goes back to, Flex, how much do United want him? Because if they really, really want him, if Eric Ten Hag really, really wants him, if Besiktas say, look, we want 5 million euros to cover that, we want half the clause, then again, how much is too much?
I think they would, I think the answer is they do really want him. Eric Ten Hag really wants him, and I think it's something that even if you have to look at this compensation thing and come to a happy medium with that, it's well within our budget. This isn't a glamorous deal. This isn't an astronomical fee. This isn't huge transfer numbers being brandished. This is a low price deal for a short term loan, but there are complexities like we've been speaking about, and we will have to sort something out with Besiktas. It's just interesting that this is been gathering pace, and it also helps when the player, from our point of view, has told their manager and the club, "I want to go. I want to go." You know, are they gonna you know, keep a player who doesn't want to be there, you know?
Exactly.
And he's been good for them as well. He's been good for them. I know it's a short term, but these things happen. So I think watch this space on this clearly.
It might be one, in fairness, though. Again, the delay might be not only sorting out. I mean, it's so ironic that it's a United short-term transfer. They've picked one of the most complicated ones to do. That's hilarious. Because that's so typical of Manchester United. But two, it also might be a situation whereby Besiktas, if they've been caught a little bit, you know, surprised by all of this, and this has happened quite quickly, they might think, well, we can't just let him go and say, "Oh, recall him," if we don't have a replacement for him.
Exactly.
They might need to figure that out first, and
Exactly.
that might take a bit of time as well. So it might not be as quick as we first thought, because there are several complexities to this deal. But given the pace that things are happening in the last hour or so, and the January transfer window, things happen at a pretty rapid pace. Anything's possible. And to your point, I suppose, watch this space. It'll be interesting to see his relationship with Lisandro Martinez as well.
Yes, someone in the chat did just say, I'm going to read out some of your members' priority chats and regular chats in the comments as well. And obviously any super chats that we need to. Proficiency Music says, he's not the big name, but he's exactly what we need right now. We'll get the big number 9 during the summer with our new owners. That's, I 100% agree with that, to be honest with you. Who else have we've got? Got Tabislaw, obviously, in the chat saying like, share, subscribe, and join the members club if you would like to. Who else? Pay the 70 for Joao, says Mark. We're going to get to Joao Felix in a couple of seconds. We don't have 70 million euros right now. I'm going through the members chat as well. Show Ramen is in the chat. Big up Show Ramen says, doesn't look good for the club that one day Ten Hag is talking about signing average players in the past, and the next day we're signing Weghorst. I disagree. This isn't for the long term. This isn't investing huge sums and money into a player who's going to be here for a long time and they're not up to it. This is a really, really short term. You could break this transfer down into weeks if you really wanted to. You know what I mean? You could break this down into weeks. So at the end of the day, we need this player. We need a player to fill a void. And at the end, and who else? Who else are you going to get for a relatively low price? Someone that the manager likes and someone who's different to what we already have. You're not going to get that.
And also as well, not only that, personality is key. Maybe Ten Hag has looked at these options and said, they don't have the personality that I'm also looking for too, because It's important at this stage of the season that someone with the appropriate personality comes in, because if someone with the wrong personality comes in that doesn't fit, it could actually upset the harmony in the dressing room, which we know in the past has been fractured, and it's a key thing to remain things as they are. So again, personality is just as important here, I think.
Yeah. David T with the super chat says, Wout needs to pull off Dele Alli performances. My guy, you're playing for Besiktas and Burnley for F's sake. We, Man United, want you. I see it. Yeah, Dele Alli's had a terrible time.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened
out there.
Yeah.
So yes, that is what's going on. Listen, over 2,000 people watching live as well. Incredible. Smash a like on the video. My super chat flex about Giroud. Oh, sorry, Red Baron. Have you got that there, Owen? Or should I find that? No, it's not.
Oh, Red Baron says short-term fix equals Giroud. There you go. That was
okay. There you go. Sorry about that, Red Baron. We don't like to miss any super chats around here. So that is the latest. Before we move on to Joao Felix, the latest on this deal is that Wout Weghorst has signalled his intention to join Manchester United, hoping for the blessing of Besiktas, and obviously it's going to have to be Burnley. But and Manchester United have had exploratory talks with Burnley to wrap this up. As it stands, Besiktas have a 10 million euros fee buy option on Wout Weghorst. So there are complexities because they're going to be seeking, we presume, like Laurie Whitwell says, some compensation for that, because they're being deprived of the chance to sign this striker who's actually scored 8 goals in 16 games for them and is doing quite well. And also, they wasn't budgeting on the reason why they brought him in on loan with an option to buy is because they like him. And that's their plan. Now that's going to be taken away from them in the immediate. We can't just think it's just between us and Burnley. It isn't. He's currently a Besiktas player on loan. So there are some complexities, but we want him. There are talks happening, and this looks like there's a high chance it could happen, I think. But like Owen says, and like we've been talking about in the last 34 minutes or so, we're going to have to wait and see, because there are some complexities around that. And while that was happening, there was an update on my beloved Joao Felix. What's going on here?
Yes, so when it comes to Joao Felix, this comes from Tom Hopkinson from the Sunday Mirror, who is reporting, and Jacob Leaks as well, saying that Atletico Madrid are now demanding a £9.5 million low fee and a commitment to buy at £70.5 million from Manchester United as negotiations of Joao Felix hot up. George Mendes meeting when there's two ats together, at Atleti's CEO Miguel Angel Gil on Thursday to present United's opening offer with a straight loan and £3 million and commitment to cover wages. Basically, they said, no, that's too low. We heard that it was going to be around, was it €4 million that United were willing to offer as a loan fee plus full wages. Atletico said no, but George Mendes has been able to reduce that loan fee and get it down to now £9.5 million. But it's with a commitment to buy at the end of the season in the summer at £70.5 million, which, to be honest, if you would say in the summer window, you can buy Joao Felix for 70 million quid, that ain't bad.
Well,
that is not bad.
Not if you ask one of our fellow members, Show Rahman, it isn't. Because Show Rahman says 70 million for Felix. Forget that. He ain't worth it. Overhyped player. And also, Khalid, can I just say, this is why we love the United View community. Because what's actually happening here is that you guys, the community, are helping me and Owen by getting the direct quotes from The Athletic, putting it into the chat so we can bring it to the screen for everyone else to see. So big up, Khalid. Kind of being part of UV there. Well, you are part of it in terms of the community, but in terms of actively, producer settings. Big up, Khalid, man. Appreciate that, bro. Just from getting the quotes and putting them in the chat so we can easily bring it to the rest of the guys instead of just keeping information for yourself. I like it. So big up to Khalid. Tabislo, 70 million is too much for me. 50 million for Felix, not 70, says Jay Ham. And 70 million. Hold out your hand, says Sonny. I think 70 million for Joao Felix is good. I do. Yeah. I think he's worth that. I do. I think he's a brilliant player. I mean, I'm speaking off a personal. I've always liked Joao Felix. I really like him. I would love for us to get him. I understand why we can't get him now. I understand why we absolutely did not pay 20 million plus euros for a loan fee altogether with his wages. Yeah, this feeds into what we were talking about with David Ornstein saying only last week. No one's biting at that. Everyone's looking at that price, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's United, whoever are looking at it with George Mendes and saying, not for that price. You're having a laugh for a 6-month loan deal. No chance. And now that's been slashed in half, pretty much. Slashed in half within a week. That makes it completely different. And if you're saying, would I prefer Joao Felix or Wout Weghorst? I tell you what, mate.
I tell you what, Flex, what are you going to say? You're going to do a madness. I can feel it in you. It's Saturday. Let your hair down. Let your hair down. Speak your truth. Speak your true feelings. Who would you prefer in the January transfer window? Wout Weghorst on a loan for 6 months or Joao Felix on a loan that was a £9.5 million loan fee plus his wages, which is about 7 million, add that up, about 16 million total package plus a commitment. We have to, in the summer, sign in for 70.5 million. Which one would you prefer? I'll get a poll in the chat.
That's the only thing it's the obligation to buy for 70. So I am saying it's a good price, but obviously if you attach yourself to that, it has to work, doesn't it? It has to work, because if you're saying you're gonna buy, you definitely gonna buy this guy for 70 million, you want it to work. Although you can't write someone off coming in halfway through a season and only playing 5 months. They need a preseason and they need to learn a team. So just because you have an indifferent 5 months, that doesn't mean you're going to be a bad player. But I'm saying this, Owen. I'm saying get both. That's what I'm on.
Well, you've gone really crazy.
What? But why is it that crazy though? Is that crazy? If that's been
it is crazy.
We had 20. We got 20 million in the kitty. Yeah.
Yes.
Why can't we use that to say get Joao Felix and get Wout Weghorst? Weghorst goes in the summer anyway, and then you buy Joao Felix. What's wrong with that?
I'm not sure we have that. Do we have that money available?
Everyone's saying get both. It's not crazy. Red Baron says no. It's not crazy. Double loan income in madness. If we sign both of them, like you were sort of saying before, I will change my tune about what we can achieve this season.
Oh, what tune would that be changed to? Don't be cryptic, Flex.
I would
Do not be cryptic on a Saturday. To what?
I would change my tune.
What tune would you be changing it to?
To a faster paced EDM song. I would change it to that.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I still don't think we're going to get Joao Felix. I'm going to be honest. I'm still sticking with my belief. Yeah, I'm still sticking with my belief that we are not going to get Joao Felix. Still, look, that's progress. Certainly, that is progress. To your point, the loan fee's been about halved. There's a commitment later on, which hopefully by the summer, we'd have new owners, we'd be able to afford that. And I think it'd be that's a good price for Joao Felix at 23, 24 years of age, considering they signed him for 100+ million. Not bad. But it still was a total package of what? 9.5 million plus about sort of 7 or 8 million. It's still like coming to sort of 16, 17 million, isn't it? That's the problem. And
That's
I
in our
don't
kitty, though.
know.
I was in our kitty.
Is it though?
20, they were saying the old 24 million. The cash reserve's
Is
gone
it
down to
though?
24 million.
Is it though?
Yeah,
We're talking about
yeah.
Weghorst. We're talking about Weghorst, couple million compensation as a goodwill gesture,
Adding up,
goodwill
innit?
face.
Adding up.
You
It's
know what I
adding up.
mean? Then Joao Felix, they go even a couple million. Then suddenly it was like, wow, you know, we stretched it a little bit. I don't know, Flex. I think Wout Weghorst might be the one that we get. And if we did do a madness, I mean, it would be so Manchester United to go, we're absolutely broke. We've got no money. Deadline day, Wout Weghorst, Joao Felix, they're holding up shirts. You go, and what a picture that would be, by the way. Talk about little and large.
Yeah.
That would be tremendous.
Yeah.
Big shirt, small shirt, you know. It'd be like me standing next to Marcel. That's what it'd be like.
100%.
But I don't see it. Go on, Zane.
He says, Felix to Arsenal, it's confirmed, is it? I think he thinks it's confirmed because we're about to get Weghorst. So he's like, we've got him. Plus, we're getting Rice in the summer. Players want to join the Arteta revolution. Okay, that's you guys. You're doing your thing. Zane, keep doing your thing. Good luck. Good luck with it. See you in a couple of weeks. And Kaiser? Isn't there a Premier League rule that you can only have 2 loan players at once?
It depends on, I believe, which clubs they are from. A lot of the time, it depends on if they're. I think there's 2. You can have 2 loans. I think from 2 Premier League clubs. I don't think that counts from
clubs outside the Prem.
From clubs outside the Premier League. Might be wrong. We'll have to have a check on that. But I do. There are certain rules and specifics regarding. I mean, let's be honest. Manchester United would not be pursuing this deal if they've overlooked some administrative situation like that. I mean, you would hope, right? It wouldn't get to the point where we go, finally, we agreed that thing for Wout Weghorst. Oh, we can't sign him because of this rule. So I don't think that will be the case.
Yeah. Red Baron thinks I'm a disgrace and a cheat. Oh my God, Kaiser Chiefs are a band, Flex. I know they are.
Yeah.
I just said Kaiser because I didn't.
And they're a football team from South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. Kaiser Chiefs, yeah. Where is that one? Is that there? Oh, because Kaiser Chiefs. Oh, that's the band. I didn't see the band logo.
Yeah, I didn't see the picture.
So I do know who Kaiser Chiefs are. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Don't profess to listen to a lot of them.
He's not that out of it.
But I know they are very famous rock band. I do know that. David T says a number 9 and a 70 million winger in January. Joel Glazer will have a heart attack with that. Especially when I'm trying to sell the club. But like Owen says, I don't think that will be the case. I don't. I think it is one or the other. You never know. That Weghorst deal could break down because Besiktas play hardball, and then we go, you know what? We'll take Felix. You never know.
What do we do? That's a good point. What happens if like Besiktas go, that's great, you want him, but we're not letting him go. What if they trigger that option? They just go, yeah, we're buying him. Sorry.
Don't they have to do that at the end, or can you just do that halfway?
I don't know. I don't know if that's at the end of the season. I don't know if that's at any point. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
there might be. Again, there are conditions to it.
Well, what happen?
What if they buy him and say, okay, we're happy, we've bought him, buy
30 million.
Yeah. What if they did that? I mean, this could get very, very complicated. I mean,
then you go for the chat. Mate.
Well, again, that might be one as well. The poll in the chat has got over 500 votes, and it says which option is better: Felix loan fee plus obligation to buy, or Weghorst with that loan and a little bit of compensation. 61% saying Joao Felix, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Joao Felix one is
he's better. He's better.
He's a better player, longevity, young. And again, in my opinion, I don't know what you guys think. It's mixed in the chat. I think if 70 million to seal him for that, I think is about right. I think that's good. I thought it would have been more. I know you could say, you know, they bought him for 120 million. Has he been that good, Flex? But I just think he's a brilliant player. And I think out of that team, in a progressive team, I think he's going to be brilliant. So I think and Anthony's 80 million, you know, if you're going off that, Anthony's 80 million. So why is Joao Felix going to not be more than him? You know,
I mean, Arsenal can't get that Mudryk at the moment because Shakhtar are going, if Anthony's worth 80, then we think Mudryk is worth more. And if at the same time you can get Joao Felix for 70 later on in the summer. Bear in mind, imagine he came to United, and this is a big if, imagine he came to United and he plays really well this season. It's like revelation. You go, 70 million could be a snip. That 100%. Could be really good business, you know, but I don't think he's coming to it, don't matter.
You had to do that, didn't you?
Got to be honest. Got to be honest. Got to speak my truth.
Yes, you do. You do have to speak your truth. But it is sensational, and it is good though. What I will say, I know we've been looking for a striker, so this isn't like a surprise. But it is good to see these things in motion of us trying to get a deal done and it not seeming that crazy. Like that's not a disgrace. That's not, oh, what on earth are we doing? That's quite measured, isn't it? Really, I think going for Wout Weghorst, I think that it's something that
there's still going to
outside
be
of the
that
club,
reaction, isn't there? There's still going to be that There's
of
still
course
going
there
to
is
be that reaction
because of
of
who he is.
Man
But
United, Burn.
yeah,
We're going after a Burnley striker. We're meant to be pushing for top
for
4.
me, I think people who are doing that are United fans. If you're a rival fan, cool, I expect you to do that because you don't care
Yeah,
about
you
Man
signed
United.
Weghorst. Well,
You don't know the ins and outs of what we're doing, and nor should you particularly care. And it would be funny if we saw Liverpool going for Weghorst. You know, we'd say,
we'd
you know
laugh.
what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd laugh. So that's rivals fans' job. That's fine. I don't care about that. But I think from a Manchester United perspective, and this isn't to say these Man United fans are wrong because that's what this is. It's about opinion. But I think if you're a Man United fan and you're thinking, what on earth are we doing? This is Weghorst. He was rubbish at Burnley. Oh, this shows that we're still crap. I think you'd probably, in my opinion, I think you're missing a little bit of the bigger picture of where we're actually at, you know, versus what is attainable, versus our resources, versus the profile of striker that he can be, and that it isn't long term. So yeah, like Palmera says, you know, Weghorst over Nunes. Agreed. You know, agreed. So smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. 2,200 people watching live, which is unbelievable for a random Saturday night where nothing was going on. All of a sudden, there's a lot going on. So smash the like on the video. How many likes are we on now? We are on 485. So let's push. Let's
close
push
to 500. Let's get 750. I mean,
exactly.
even if half of people here watching click the like button, do the maths there, Flex, because I can't.
No chance.
Yeah.
No. And to finish off, where are we at with this Thuram situation? I think that's the bottom of the pile now, but let's just quickly gloss over that before we finish off. Thuram chase over.
Yeah, it's over is basically what it is.
Did it ever start?
Because I don't know. Well, according to the reports that have come out since we're live, basically, Laurie Whitwell said we're not even entertaining permanent deals, and this is what this would be. So this kind of just solidifies this story that was put out there earlier today by Fabrizio Romano, saying that he understands Chelsea have opened talks to explore a January deal for Marcus Thuram. The French striker is on many clubs' top list after being a free agent this coming June. Chelsea are exploring conditions for January. Thuram will take his time and consider all the options, as once again, Santiago Una called first. He's on one today, Flex. He is calling all of the big stuff. And then again, as we've been live discussing this about Weghorst situation and developments, it's also been said that United really just aren't pursuing any permanent deals, even low-cost ones, which Thuram would be. So despite being an option, despite being someone that we thought could be an option, it looks very, very unlikely. It looks like the chase is over. And seemingly the chase is over is because we found our target in Wout Weghorst being this loan option, but also because we're just not looking at these permanent deals. And the only thing I would say with this, Flex, is that it was, and I spoke about this in this morning's show, that there was some feeling in Germany, I think it was Christian Falk that said it, that maybe Thuram might just wait until the summer and see all of the clubs that are interested in him on a free contract come the end of the season. But Chelsea doing what Chelsea does, and that's buy everyone.
That's what they do. And the thing
Todd
is,
Boehly.
You can't rule them out of doing that. You know what I mean? You can't, and like I said, I think the main thing there is that we aren't looking at anything long term. We're not looking at anything permanent. And he comes into that permanent situation. Gladbach, I don't think would loan him. He's available for a relatively cheap price, but it's still on a permanent. And as Laurie Whitwell alluded to there, it's not going to be our thing. Robert says, if Felix goes to Arsenal, I'll be so sad. Yeah, it would be sad to see him go there. But again, it just means it just wasn't our time. The one that got away, or we wasn't quite there yet. You know, we've just got to focus on ourselves. I hate to sound a bit like Ten Hag, but it's true, man. Like, I know where we want to get to. You have to look at who's around you, and I get that. But there's teams that are way ahead of us in their development, and I think where we are right now, I'm comfortable. Personally, I'm comfortable with where we are. Keegan says, can we agree a deal for next year with new owners? And that plays into it as well. Exactly. That plays into, you know, the permanent side of it as well. Yes, it's money, but also we don't know what the budget's going to look like. We don't know who we can get. So maybe signing ourselves up to spend 70 million before we've got new owners that could be an issue too. Actually, it's a good point.
It might be a condition from above, as it were, when it comes. Maybe it comes directly from the Glazers, which is, by the way, you cannot sign anyone on a permanent deal whilst these strategic alternatives are being considered. It might be something. I was at in my past, Flex used to work for a big company, and they owned lots of other big companies, and they were selling off one of these other companies. And what we used to do in recruitment is we used to sometimes get employees from that company to come over and be part of these brands. And we were told when the company was selling this other one, you can't take anyone, because a part of the due diligence that's involved in the selling process, basically all the I's need to be dotted, all the T's need to be crossed. And it might come from above. It might come from above, from the Glazers, as whilst this is ongoing, or it might come from the Rain Group, who's facilitating this sale, going,
don't buy or sell anyone.
Don't buy, don't do anything.
Yeah, which would make sense with so much, a mammoth club like ours. Imagine the moving parts and paperwork and things that are involved in selling a club like us. In any football club, especially in the Premier League, but especially us. That would be interesting to see. The smallest things could probably have the biggest impact. So yeah, I can see that happening as well. So there you have it. That is your evening news. Wow, what a show! Do you know what? I was just sitting there chilling. I just did not expect that. Did not expect that at all. But that's what the transfer window throws up, isn't it? And that's why we enjoy it. That's why we enjoy covering it. It isn't always a good feeling when it's been us in recent windows. But it is exciting when you get a little bit of news like that. Newcastle on the way out of the FA Cup, one less tournament for them. Dubravka's in goal as well.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, bloody hell. Newcastle won't care, but it is one less good team in the FA Cup, I suppose. But yeah, that's neither here or there. They're doing well in the Premier League. Smash the like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Got a really exciting video coming for you tomorrow with the We Talk Ajax guys, actually. Yes, we have got that coming for you. It's been a while since we caught up with them. We're going to be talking Anthony. We're going to be talking Erik ten Hag. And the progress so far. I think the Anthony one is going to be really, really interesting because I think he's the topic that we're all talking about, isn't he?
Well, and also as well, I know about Weghorst didn't play for Ajax, but certainly they are Dutch guys, and he's part of the Dutch national team. They would have some knowledge of him and some knowledge of what he could do in an Erik ten Hag system.
On my tweet when I said should we sign him, he put no.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. live, we will be with the We Talk Ajax guys. Our good friends over there in Amsterdam, our good Ajax friends who
are Dutch cousins.
Our Dutch cousins during that transfer of players of Martinez, of Anthony, and then the manager of Erik ten Hag. They were right by our sides and helping us with that transition. And we said we got friends for life there with those guys. So a great time to catch up with those guys. So remember, tomorrow 6 p.m. we'll be live with We Talk Ajax. Let's see if anything else breaks tomorrow regarding this. You never know. You might get a here we go before then. Who knows? Who knows? Smash the like and video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're out of here. Peace.